In this video, we'll be looking into the important topics, important questions to cover from the third module, that is admin interfaces and model forms of full stack development subject of subject code 21 CS 62. So the first topic which we have is admin interface. So they can ask what are the advantages of using admin interface, how do we customize admin interface with an example we should write. Okay. So firstly, we have admin interface. It is a powerful feature built in with Django framework. So it provides ready to use customizable web-based interface for managing data in database in Django applications. So we can easily perform CRUD operations here without writing the custom views for each one. Okay, without writing the custom views or forms. So this admin interface is present in django.contrib package. So from this package we can get either for the admin or for the authority or for the session interface. Okay. So this was the intro part of admin interface. Now we'll look into the key aspects, advantages of, it could be asked either as key aspects or the advantages of admin interface. The first one is automatic CRUD operations. That is, here we define the model, and after defining the model, we can auto-generate the interface. So by having auto-generated interfaces, it becomes easier to perform the CRUD operations. Next we have is customization. So as there are like pre-built templates or interfaces ready for us, we can change its appearance, behavior, define custom views, add filters, create custom actions, and so on. Next we have the built-in authentication. So based on the user permission and the groups, we can authenticate who is accessing it and allot the permissions accordingly. For example, if a super user is accessing it, then he or she has all the authorities, all the rights to perform all the operations. Then we have development and debugging. So debugging happens debugging happens very efficiently here because there are quick inspections happening at each stage through which the models are verified. That is development part. Next we have the effective workflow. So again, rapid development happens here where the data is managed quickly without writing the custom views. Next we have is the inbuilt tools and dashboard. So there are multiple features available, multiple libraries available in the package through which we can make use of the tools inbuilt, and a dashboard is also present through which we can perform the administrative tasks. Then we have is rapid prototyping and development. So by using admin interface, now we can create quick prototypes, develop features without building custom interfaces. By doing so, this will save our time, speed up the development time. Next we have is user management. In user management, user accounts, assign permissions, and managing the user sessions. We can manage who is what are the features being accessed, assign permissions to it, and also manage the user sessions. Next we have is the security. So yeah, as we spoke about the inbuilt debugging, quick debugging and development, yeah, so it is pretty secure. And along with that, even the user authentication built-in authentication is also there, right? So it becomes secure. Then extensibility, that is, without creating the custom applications, without developing the custom interfaces, we can easily build up applications here. So it is again extensible. Consistency. So by using admin interfaces, it provides a consistent look throughout the application, and it makes easier to access the admin portal. Then we have time saving. Again, as we discussed, rapid prototyping and development, it saves time here. Support for third-party tasks. So the third-party tasks and the libraries or the packages have been supported here, through which we can perform various activities in the admin interface. This was about the intro part and the advantages of admin interface. Let's look further. We have activating admin interface. So to enable admin interface, we should enable the Django project settings first. That is, in settings file, installed apps, we should include this django.contrib.admin. So this is our first step. After this, we should run the migrations. That is, python manage.py make migration and python manage.py migrate. By doing these two, we can firstly we are including all the packages useful for admin interface, and after the migrations we are making sure that the database linkages established here. After that, we'll be creating a super user, that is python manage.py create super user. After creating the super user, we configure the URL pattern, that is from django.contrib import admin. Yes, this is what we write usually. Then we have django.urls import path and include, again the same. Now URL pattern is equal to path admin we are considering the admin, and here admin.site.url. So this has to be included in the URL pattern. Next we have is to create the models and register with admin. So suppose model book, I'm creating a model called book. So I should register the book in admin.py of same application. That is from django.contrib import admin, and after that from .model import book, I am importing the book, okay, the model, and then I'm registering it here. Okay, so admin.site.register book. So here I have registered the model. After this, I can apply the database migrations. If there are any database migrations to happen, I can do that. After that, I can start the development server and access the interface, access the admin interface. So this is how the activation of admin interface works. So this could be asked for 5 marks. Along with the advantages, if it is asked, it could be for 10 marks. Next we have is working of admin interface. How does admin site work? So initially I load the URL from urls.py. After that, admin.auto-discover executes. This particular class executes. So here it iterates over the installed apps and checks the admin interface. After finding that particular admin interface, admin.py, it executes that particular admin.py. So this was my third step. Then fourth is admin.py. Now in that admin.py execution part, configuration. In admin.py configuration, use admin.site.register to register. So this particular admin would be, this particular page would be registered in the admin site. This particular model would be registered with the admin. So this is what we are doing in this particular step. After that, once it is registered, I have to initialize. So admin interface initialization, that is built-in third-party integration should happen, and along with that, registered models get edit change interface. So as we have seen above, so after registering, applying the database migrations, after that we can start and access the database, admin interface. That's what we are doing here. After initialization, now I will look into admin site usage. That is, we navigate by admin interface, we manage the data through forms here. Once this is done, we restart the application development server if any changes are made in this particular stage, that is in the initialization and in the usage part. If it is so, then we restarted, all the changes would be saved. Again, we come to the end. So this is how the admin site works. Okay. Next we have is customizing the user interface or admin interface. So in textbook, they're not specified user interface as such. It is admin interface only. So customizing admin interface. So the first step we can customize admin interface is to adding our model to admin site. So that we know how to add the model to admin site. That is admin.site.register. We'll look into the example. It is from django.contrib import admin. We are importing the admin package. From mysites.book.model. So from the book model, I am importing publisher, author and books classes. Okay. After that, I'll be registering it. Admin.site.register publisher, admin.site.register author, admin.site.register book. So I am done with these 3 steps. So that is how we can register a particular model to our admin site. Next we have is making fields optional. So by making fields optional, we can again customize, like if we want this particular field in our admin interface, yes or no, we can do it. We're looking at an example. Class author, models.model, first name is equal to models.char field, maximum length is equal to 100. We know how to specify the variables here. Next, email is equal to models.email field, blank is true. Blank is true. What does blank is true mean? Blank is equal to true means it allows field to be blank in forms. So in cases where I don't want to enter the email or any other field for that matter, so I can make it optional, right? So if I just define it normally, I have to enter it. If I don't enter it, the fields that particular admin page won't load further. Okay, so blank is equal to true means allows the field to be blank in forms. Along with that, related to form validation and has no effect on database directly. So this is related to the form validation, and there is no impact on the database as such. If we have null is equal to true, so instead of blank is equal to true, if I write null is equal to true, 0 would be stored in that particular cell in the database. So that's the difference between blank is equal to true and null is equal to true. So we have looked into the second option, that is to make fields optional. Third one we have is customizing the field labels. Field labels are the headings. So based on model field names, field labels are auto-generated. We know that. So we can rectify for better understanding and clarity. We can rectify these field names for better understanding and clarity. In order to do that, we'll be making use of we can change the label of model field using verbose name parameter. So we'll see how this parameter is used. So class author models.model. So here I'm changing for first name. Okay, so fname is equal to models.charField, blank is equal to true. It could be blank, comma, verbose name is equal to first name. So from fname I'm changing it to first name. So in order to do this transition, I can make use of verbose name parameter. So for that, here if I write here, if blank is not there, it could be max length is equal to 100. And along with that, as I'm changing the name of this particular field, I can write verbose name is equal to first name. So this is how we can change the field labels. If I change the field label, I can again, I am customizing that particular admin page to my feasibility, right? So this was our third point. Next we have is customizing, looking at the custom model admin classes. So in custom model admin classes, we have first one is customizing the change list. That is class author models.model. I have specified the first name, last name. Here again, here I'm defining the Unicode. So self, here I return the two parameters here, SS, two strings, right? That is self.fname, two characters. Self.fname is returned, and along with that self.lname is also returned. So these would be stored in a list. Okay, so that's how I can customize. So here in author, if I've specified like 10 attributes, then while returning here, if I return self, it has to return all the 10 attributes, right? But then all the 10 attributes would be stored in list. Here I'm customizing which attribute to come in the list form. So here I have selected self.fname and self.lname. So in list, fname and lname would be displayed. So that is how I can customize the change list. Next, moving on to the next two next two options. One is adding the search fields. So by adding the search fields, it makes easy for the admin to access whichever field they want. That is class author admin.model admin. So here previously we had got that list, no? So the same list we are using, list display is equal to fname lname. Here I am searching in the field fname. So when I search in the field fname, that particular column would be given as the output. Okay. Next, adding the filter. So either I could search or I could add filter also. That is list display is equal to title publisher, the same list I'm using. List filter is equal to publisher, and date hierarchy is equal to publication date. So here date hierarchy is publication date. That is I am reordering the date in terms of publication date. This is what the third statement says. List filter is equal to publisher. So here I am filtering the list based on publisher column. Okay, that's what this line, the second line says. Okay, so we are done with customizing the admin interface. If they ask how do we customize the admin interface, it will be asked for 10 marks probably. So make sure you cover these 6 points, and along with 6 points also make sure to write the code snippet. Okay, next moving on to the Django forms. So Django provides robust framework for form handling, validation, making it easy to create forms, process submissions, and handle custom validation. So in forms, we have three main things to remember. One is form class, form instance, and form processing. So form class is the structure of form, fields, validation rules, and widgets. Coming to form instance, it is object representing specific form at particular point. Coming to form processing, that is how we process the form, validated, how we are handling the user submitted data is look here. So I have two examples here. The first one which was explained in class, we'll look into that. So form definition. In form definition, forms are defined as Python classes similar to the models. They are inherited from django.forms.form. Each form in the field is represented by a field class from Django features. Django.new forms. So each form has three fields: topic, message, and sender. So looking at an example here. So from Django, import new forms as forms. So we are importing the new forms here. Next, topic choices is equal to, here we have several choices: general for general inquiry, bug for bug report, and suggestion for suggestions. So after that, I'm forming class contact form forms.form. Okay, so I am specifying the topic. Topic is equal to forms.choice field. Choice is equal to topic choices. So from the topic choices, I'll be selecting the topic. Okay. Next, message is equal to forms.char field. Message again a character. Then sender is equal to forms.email field. Required is equal to first. So this is not compulsory. So here I am making the field optional. Okay. Now, so here I am making the field optional in form. Okay. Next, Next we have is in the view part, I'll write from django.shortcuts import render to response. I'm importing render to response. Okay. After that, from mysite.books.forms. So in books, the forms were stored. I am importing the contact form that we have created previously. Again, specifying here, define contact request. Form is equal to contact form, calling the contact form, return render to response contact.html form, which will be equated to forms. Forms would be printed. Now looking at the contact.html, we have HTML head title as contact us. In body we have heading as contact us. Form action is equal to method post. If we see method post, that is the output should be printed. Okay, so the output should be printed. Okay, so we are taking table form dot as table. So next we have form action is equal to here dot followed by that the method is post. So if we have post, no, the data is sent from so like send form data in the body of HTTP request. So this is suitable for sensitive and large data. If we have get here, so that will be send form data as URL parameter suitable for retrieving or filtering the data. So here we have post, that is to send the data. So table form dot as table, printing the contents of form. We are printing it. Then type is equal to submit. After that we have a type. Okay, so we have a type parameter. Type is equal to submit, value submit. So again here we have submit. We should write submit here. So we are when we press the submit button, this particular the feedback form would be updated. Usage of form functionalities: data validation, widget generation, error message correction, and form rendering. So looking at the textbook example here, we have defining the form class firstly, that is from django.import forms, class feedback form, form.form, name I'm specifying, email I'm specifying, message I'm specifying, and message should be in a text area, so it has to be a character field. Okay, so like a box in which we enter values, right? So yeah, like that. Our second step is to display the form in view.py. So here view will handle get and post requests. So previously also we have seen contact.html only we had written post part. Right. So from django.shortcuts import render redirect, from dot forms import the feedback form. I'm importing the feedback form. Define the feedback view request. If the request is for post, then form is equal to feedback form request dot post. This I am uploading the value. Okay. Next, if form is valid, after publishing the feedback form, now what I'll do is name is equal to form dot clean data. Again, email is equal to form dot clean data. Message is equal to form dot clean data of message, and after that I'll be returning redirect. Thank you for filling the form. So once here what it means is once I have filled the form and once we get request dot method as post, so the data would be sent, right? The data would be posted. It sends the data from the form to the HTTP request. After that we'll be cleaning those whichever input is given. So if the form is valid, we'll clean it, and after that we'll return thank you for filling the form. If it is not clear, if it is not valid, then we'll return feedback form again. So it has to perform the same operation. Now again, return render request feedback.html form. So here I'll be looking into the HTML part now. So here we have create a template that will render the form. So we make use of form method is equal to post, again uploading the value, CSRF token. So this ensures protection from CSRF attacks. Then we have form dot as p. So this renders the form fields wrapped in the paragraph tags. So it is button type is equal to submit. I submit the data and I end the form. So this was my third step, to create a template that will render the form. So next we have is the configuration part. So I have to configure the URLs, right? So urls.py only will update the value, that is URLs is equal to path feedback form views.feedback form, again name is equal to feedback form, specifying the name of URL pattern. After that I'll be having handling the form submissions and then redirecting or rendering the response. So this was about the feedback form. So if they ask write a note on feedback form, what is the process of creating and processing feedback forms in Django, you have to write all these steps. Okay. Next, we'll be looking into the differences between feedback form and model form. So both are forms. What is the difference then? So in feedback form, we'll look into the steps. Okay. Firstly, we set up the Django project. After that, we create an application. Then we define the feedback form. That is from Django import forms class feedback form.form. After that, I class feedback forms.form. This is how I create a feedback form. Coming to the model form, I define the model, create model forms, that is from Django import forms, same. Class feedback form, forms.model form. Here I am specifying model form, but then here it is model, just form. Okay. After that, I'll be making use of meta class. Model is equal to feedback, and what are the fields to be used? Access, that is fields is equal to name and email, which had to be accessed from the model. Okay. So these two are the major variations. After that, I create a view class here. View for the form and template for the form. Here also I create a view and template for the form. After that, I configure in the settings part, that is installed apps is equal to feedback. Here also I should like configure the URL part in app in settings, the same. After that, I run the server here, and here also the same. Next, we have custom validation to forms. So they can ask, how can custom validation be implemented in Django forms? So to validate the forms in a custom manner, we can make use of two techniques. One is the field level, other one is the form level. We look into the form level is easy. It is similar to the field level only. For field level, we look into it. So we can validate form by defining clean along with the field name methods in form class. That is class feedback form, forms.form. I'm specifying the name, email, and message. After that, we'll look into the custom validation part. So define clean email. So here I am taking the name as clean email only. Self. So email is equal to self dot clean data get email. So I am checking if the email is clean or not. So if it is clean, then I return the email. Else, if spam in the email, then I raise dot forms dot validation error invalid email. So I raise an like it's an error, no. So I raise validation error at this part, and invalid email would be printed here. So this was how we can custom validate using the field level. Now coming to form level, in form level, no, suppose I have taken these three things, all these three attributes, right? So define clean, or I could say define clean form, clean feedback form self. After that, I can write x is equal to self dot clean. X is equal to self dot clean. In brackets, I should write name, email, and message. If all these are obeyed, then I can return the that particular. I can return the form. Else, there I can write invalid input, and the something I can write. Okay, so that's how we can perform custom validation to forms. Let's look into why custom validation of forms is important. So first point we have is to configure the business logic. By unconfiguring, in order to unconfigure the business logic, we have to filter out whatever data we want. So accordingly, in order to filter out the data which we want, we can custom validate it. Okay. Next we have is data integrity. So it becomes pretty important while looking at the forms, because each form, suppose when I am filling the feedback form, I have given my email as my college ID, and when you are filling the form, you have given some other ID. So although we all are students, and this forms were published by our class or by our college to fill some particular detail, and we have given different emails. At that time, data integrity is not obeyed properly, right? So here custom validation comes and plays an important role. Next we have is processing the user feedback. That is the same. So I have to process the user feedback. In order to process it, I make use of custom validation. Next we have is cross field validation. Yeah, again, cross field validation holds also the same. It is also the same. Just expand and write it. So this was about custom validation to forms. This could be asked for 10 marks. With an example, you can explain this part. Moving on, next we have is creation of model forms. So model forms, we have seen what model forms are. So firstly, in model.py from django.db import models, I'm importing the models. I am creating a feedback form class, feedback form models.model. Again, I'm taking input as name, email, and message. We have studied this in second module also. After that, I'll be creating the model form in forms.py. That is, from Django, I'm importing the forms. Along with that, from this particular model, I'm importing feedback. Okay. Next, class meta. We have seen this in previous page. Model, I'm specifying the model. Along with that, what are the fields to be acquired or accessed? Here, specifying the field names also, field attributes also. Name, email, and message. Next, in views part, I'll be writing from django.shortcuts import render and redirect. Render and redirect, two things would be used here. Okay. So from forms, import the feedback model. So here I'm importing the feedback model form. Okay, next, feedback view. Defining the feedback view request. If form is valid, I'm checking if the form is valid. form dot save, the form would be saved, and return redirect. Redirect is I am giving some sort of output. Okay, it would be thank you. If not, form is equal to feedback model form. Again the same thing, the same above operations occur. Okay, I am returning the feedback form back. Okay, then return render request feedback.html, again giving the HTML part. Here form is equal to form. So after this I should write the feedback.html part also, which is pretty easy. We have seen here how to write the HTML part, right? So it is pretty easy, you can write it this way. Okay, next we have is to configure the URL. So again configuring the URL also holds the same steps. Okay, so we are updating URL is equal to URL pattern is equal to path, and I'm specifying the feedback form. Here also it is feedback form, views.feedback form, here models.feedback form, name is equal to feedback model form. Okay, next, so this was about creating the model forms. We looked into the differences between model forms and the normal the feedback forms. Next we have URL configuration tricks. So in sample paper this is asked for 10 marks, in one paper, in another paper it is asked for 5 marks. If it is asked for 5 marks, just write the key points. If it is asked for 10 marks, make sure that you mention the example also. So Django URL configuration system is flexible, allowing various ways to refine and manage the application's URL patterns. So looking at the first way to manage and configure the URL is the tricks we have is streamlining the function imports. That is, instead of importing each view function individually, we can import entire view module and then reference the functions as its attributes of that particular module. So looking at an example from my side, import views, URL pattern is equal to patterns. Here I am making use of views.hello, and here I am importing that particular module. Okay, so views.hello. Next we have is using string references for views. That is, instead of passing view functions directly, we can pass string containing module and function name. Django will automatically import those views when those view functions when needed. So it is URL pattern is equal to patterns. Here I am specifying hello, and here I am doing the alteration. That is, from my side, in views, I have to access the hello. The function name is hello here. Okay, so that is how using string references for views. Next we have using prefixes. So it is just opposite of what we have seen above. So using view prefixes, if all the functions in a URL configuration share a common model path, we can pass common prefix as first argument to that particular patterns. So that is URL pattern is equal to patterns my site.views, and I'm specifying the hello, and I need this particular function name, right? Function which I'm accessing, right? So hello would be generated, starting with hello and ending with $. We know, we have understood this in the first module only. How do we specify the regular expressions and all. Using multiple view prefixes. So we can handle views from different modules by adding multiple patterns object together. So it allows grouping URLs without redundancy. That is, see, for the above part, I had called the function hello from my site.views. Now again, URL pattern is equal to plus is equal to pattern weblog.views. So from weblog also, I need to access the hello function. Okay, so for that, when I have the same function in multiple view parts, I can make use of multiple view prefixes. Next we have is to the special casing. Using URLs in debug mode. So we can dynamically alter URL config on Django by debug setting. So this debug feature would be available in the settings part. So, and by specifying this, we can perform the URL like alteration and all. Let's look into the example. So this is useful for adding URLs that should be only available during the development. Example is from django.config import settings. In settings, URL patterns is equal to, I'm specifying here it is view.homepage. In view.homepage, if settings is .debug, if settings.debug is the condition, then I'm adding pattern with debugging info along with that. From views, debug would be considered. So this is what the example speaks of. Then we have using the named groups. So named groups in regular expression allow us to capture parts of URL and pass them as key arguments to view functions. So this makes our URL configuration more readable and less prone to errors. So if you see here, I'm making use of the regular expression, that is year with 4 digits should be given as the output, views.year archive. Okay. Next I have 7th I have is to pass extra keyword arguments to view functions directly from URLs. So here I'll be making use of foodbar view, views.foodbar view, template name is equal to template.html. So here I'm passing an extra keyword argument to access the view part function directly, right? Like if they have asked for 10 marks also, no, make sure you write examples for at least 6 or 7 points. After that, rest of the points you can just write the headings. So faking URL configuration value by adding extra URL configuration options. So this is useful when we want to treat certain URL as if they match the pattern, but even though if they don't match the pattern also. That is one more trick. Next we have is by using extra URL configuration options. So we can create generic views that work with different models or templates, reducing the redundancy in our code. So this was about the URL configuration and tricks. So in both the model papers this was asked, so make sure you cover this. Next I have this was again student project details program. So this program was also asked, again an important one. I have to create a model form here. So starting from the models part, from django.db import the models. After that, class project is the class, project is its name. So student name, I'm specifying the student name, topic chosen, languages, models.char field, maximum length. After that, duration is models.integer field because I am entering the duration in terms of weeks. Okay. Next, define str self. So I am returning self.student name. I have to return the student name as well as the topic chosen. Looking at the forms part here, I'm creating a model form. No, so from django.import forms. After that, from .model imports project, I'm importing the project which was created in the model. So class meta, you have seen this. Class project form. Okay, defining the project form here, forms.model form. So class meta models, I'm specifying what is the model and what are the fields to be accessed. That is student name, topic chosen, language and duration. Again, specifying the widgets now. So topic chosen is equal to forms.text input. So topic chosen, I have to give the input, right? So that is attributes is equal to placeholder, enter the project title. So I'll be entering the project title. Followed by that, even the language name also it holds the same. Forms.input text, attributes is equal to placeholder, enter the language used. Again, next I have the duration. For duration also it is same, but forms.number input. Here I am entering the number input. Attributes is equal to placeholder, enter the duration in weeks. After specifying the widgets part here, next I'll move into the labels. So student name should be specified as student name, like proper what would be displayed, what are the labels. Okay, topic, language used and duration in weeks. So this was related to the forms part. Next we have is the views part. So here I'll write from django.shortcuts I am importing the render and redirect. So from forms I'm importing the project form. Next, define project sub is request. If request.method is post, then form is equal to project form request.post. If form is invalid, then if form is valid, then form.save I have to return redirect success. We have seen this in previous example also. Else form is equal to project form, again return the same project form back. Then return render request project sub.html forms. So this HTML part would be here project sub.html. I'm specifying the head title, project submission and submit project. If form method is post, then I'm making sure that there are no CSRF attacks. And after that, this also we have seen previously. And here I have the submit button. And after pressing the submit button, this model form would be submitted. So this was about the third module. I have tried covering all the important topics. I'll be uploading this notes in the description. And along with this, even the combined notes are also available. Go through it. If you have any doubts, do let me know. And stay tuned. I'll be uploading the fourth module and fifth module video pretty soon. If you have any doubts, do let me know. Thank you.